welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And in this video, I'm sharing my boundaries with relationships. My last video, I went into the importance of boundaries, and I kind of see it as how much you're able to eat on a plate. You know, not everyone has the same appetite, and you can't really predict what people are going to serve you. Only you can reject or accept what you're being served. Only you can honor how you're feeling about certain things, how certain people are treating you, to make sure you're not depleted. So make sure if you're hopping in to like this video. And if you have any questions and if you want to join this discussion, join the chat. We're also celebrating. My course is finally out. It's open for enrollment. Tube Foundations is a course that I've been working on forever. And I actually had a talk with my higher self last night, and I was kind of upset at myself because it took me so long to do, but it took me so long to do because I wasn't just working on my course. I was working on myself. I was just learning a lot of things in life and leveling up in different departments of my life. So it wasn't just the course. And I really made sure that everything that you need to start your YouTube channel is in there. I think when you start a YouTube channel, it could be a bit overwhelming for some, and that's what stops you from starting a YouTube channel. So that's why in this course, I share all the foundations to not only help you to start your YouTube channel with ease, but to also make sure your channel has longevity. If you're wanting to become a YouTuber and you don't want to just like dip after a month, you want to make sure your brand has longevity, you want long-term results, then this course is the course for you. I go into everything. I teach you how to find a niche that aligns with you. I'm pouring right now to celebrate. This is sparkling cider. There's no alcohol in it, unfortunately, but I love sparkling cider so much there doesn't need to be alcohol in it. I get drunk off of life. Cheers. Imaginary virtual cheers. This is so good. I remember when I was a teenager and we celebrated New Year's, we would drink this. It was like our placebo effect. I had like a sleepover with a friend, and I'm just like, like I saw people posting on their Snapchat stories actually getting drunk. So we got like this bottle of like 100% apple juice, and we like posted us like cheering to our new year. But yeah, I go into how to make sure that your niche is aligned with you. So content creation is easier for you. I know one of the biggest obstacles is coming up with content. And a lot of the time it's because there's a misalignment with what type of content you're doing. You don't have to have a narrow niche and like box yourself into one thing. But once you have clarity on the type of content you're aligned with, it makes YouTube fun. It makes content creation fun. It makes content creation easier. I go into Tube Foundations, and I go into how to make filming easier. I go into how your channel can have longevity. I put it all in there. So I'm like so excited about it. Right now, there's an early bird sale going on until July 31st. So if you enroll before July 31st, there is a Slack support group where I will be YouTube coaching, and there'll be a community of other creators. So you're with us. You're in a community, and I'm walking you through all the steps. You're not just going through the course, but you actually have some accountability, which I think is definitely a must with some people. I think with certain things, especially if you've been procrastinating it for a while or you tried it and it didn't work, sometimes the one thing you're missing is accountability. And usually I charge thousands of dollars for that, and it's for free if you're an early bird. So I left the link in the description if you want to be an early bird. If you can't catch the early bird sale, maybe I might do it again around Christmas time, but by then the course will probably raise. So this is the cheapest and the best deal you're going to get. And now's the time to start your YouTube channel if you've been procrastinating it, because YouTube Shorts is taking off. And I feel like a lot of people, I mentioned this in one of my live streams, how you want to go where everyone flocks, you want to like go the opposite direction sometimes, because like with stocks, you know, when everyone's putting money in, when the stock market crashes and everyone's pulling out, that's when you go in. The same applies to social media. What everyone else is doing, it's less easier for you to thrive in that doing the same thing because everyone's trying to do it. Everyone's hyped up about it. So if you were to go a different direction, you'll have a better chance at thriving in that place because everyone else is focused on something else. And I feel like right now, a lot of people want to be TikTokers. A lot of people are thriving on TikTok, and not a lot of people are consistent on YouTube. So if there's any time for you to jump on, it is now. But let's get into boundaries and dating. And this is so good. I feel like I should have got ice though. I feel like it would have tasted better with ice. Well, let me check the sound before I go into it and find out the sound is ass. Hold on. Oh yeah, I went blonde for the summer. Blonde for the summer. Don't tell your mother. Die for each other. Cool for the summer. Cool for the summer. Okay, the sound is working. All right, my boundaries and dating. I did a live stream going into my standards with dating, and I noticed I actually said a standard that's technically a boundary. It could be both, but we're going to get into that. So my first boundary with dating is, and I want to say that I've developed these boundaries and I've realized these boundaries are a must through what I've experienced not having these boundaries. And it just not being a comfortable or fun experience for me because I didn't set these boundaries in place. And my goal with this video is to inspire you to create the same boundaries or just figure out what boundaries work for you because everyone's different. You know, I see people complaining online about women who have particular boundaries. And it's like, if that doesn't work for you, then they're not for you. What is complaining about that going to do? Like, everyone's different. Everyone has a right to have their own standards. Everyone has a right to have their own boundaries. And those who shame them, it's like, it really just shows your character because everyone has a right to do what works for them. And it's like, if you can't get with it, then get lost, you know? I was watching this TikTok video. I'm getting so off topic. I was watching this TikTok video and, this guy, I posted it actually here on my YouTube shorts, and he was saying how he like stitched this woman saying how like men know who they can mess around with, men know who they can F around with, who they can play. And then a guy stitched it and was like, yeah, usually men know who they can F with. So they'll pull the BS on people that don't have boundaries and standards. So if you're wondering why a certain guy isn't pursuing you, if you're making it very clear that you don't deal with BS and he only wants to deal with people that deal with BS, then he's not going to pursue you. And a lot of people think, okay, well, there's something wrong with me. I need to like lower my standards. I need to lower my boundaries. But no, if there's something that you don't want to deal with to protect your peace, that's not a problem. The problem is a lot of people have gotten away with doing BS. And there's a lot of people that are okay with dealing with BS and they prefer to deal with people that are able to deal with their BS. And that's just not us. You know, it's like your time is so precious and a lot of people do not understand that. And it's just not our problem. If someone doesn't understand your value, if someone doesn't understand how you value your time and you value yourself. If the majority of people if the majority of people are eating everything, oh, I gotta sneeze. Whew. Blessed be. If the majority of people are eating everything on their plate that people are serving them and throwing up every night because, you know, at least I got served some food, then, and you want to like monitor what type of food you're eating because you care about your body and you're monitoring the side effects of certain foods that you're eating and you're trying to level up and, you know, really maximize your time and your health. Just because everyone else isn't doesn't mean what you're doing is wrong. It just means that most people don't understand that they could do that too, or they just don't want to do that because for whatever reason. There's so many reasons why some people are the way they are. And there's a reason why you're the way you are, you know? Like, I don't understand people that just like shame other people. I actually have a story time I'm gonna get to at the end of this video about this topic because I got into a tobacco online. But let's just get into boundaries. I'm like mumbling. I like to get straight into it. I feel like I actually am tipsy. Not me being tipsy off of apple juice. Okay. So one of my boundaries, and I was kind of mad at myself that I didn't have this boundary before, but I didn't have this boundary before because I didn't know this is something that people did until it happened to me. Um, so when it happened to me, I was just like, I was like a deer in headlights. Like I didn't know how to react. I was just like, but one of the boundaries is no touching up on me the first date. Like, don't touch me the first date. Like, no rubbing up on me, like touching me, rubbing me, trying to kiss up all up on me on the first date. Because it's just disrespectful. It's like, if I didn't meet you off of fuckmenow.com, then what are you doing? Like it's just rude. It's like no grabbing me, like no intimate like touching on the first date, because like I'm getting to know you as a person, and this is me dating for marriage. This isn't me dating to like one night stand. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's just not my goal. So doing that, it's like when a guy rubs up, it gives off the impression that that's what he's looking for, and not really just like the first time it happened to me, I was like, it was like our first date. And it was like we just kind of like met, and he was like rubbing my hand, and I was like, okay, I guess this isn't like that bad, whatever. Like maybe his love language is like hand touching. And then he was like asking if he could kiss me, and I was like, no. And then like we went the date went off to somewhere else. Like we just like frolicked and like chatted and took a walk in the park, and he was like, can I hold your hand? And I said yes, because I was like, okay, well, there's nothing wrong with holding hands. But then looking back, I just felt really icky about the situation because it didn't last. Like the relationship, it didn't lead to a relationship, but he was parading me around, walking around town with me and holding his hand. So basically all these men, it was like in a very popular, like a very busy area with a lot of other potentials. All of these men were seeing me frolicking around with this man and holding his hand and whatnot. And it's just like, now people think that I'm with you, and I just met you, like you don't get the luxury of parading me around and making people think that we're a thing if we just met. And a lot of the time, and this is going to get into my second boundary, a lot of the time some guys will like show off women that aren't even theirs. Like they'll hang out with their pretty friends just to make themselves seem like they've got bitches. And it's like, I don't know, that wasn't the vibe he was giving me. But when you're walking around with someone in public and like PDA, people are going to assume you're with them. And you can talk to multiple people, but there are some people that won't even pursue you because they're just like, oh, that must be her man. And it's like, I don't even know this dude. And now there's a bunch of people that probably thought he was my man because I let him hold my hand. And it was a great date, but it was just like he was rubbing up on my hand and kept asking to kiss me. We just met. And it was just, I was so like overwhelmed by it that I was like a deer in headlights. I said no and stuff, but I wish I didn't let him hold hands with me. Like that is now a boundary. Like no holding hands, no PDA, nothing, because we're not at that level yet. So I'm not going to let you have people thinking we're on that. Yeah, Pepsi said, don't mess with my mom. She said, ain't nobody touching my mama. Let them know, Pepsi. Let them know. Okay. They got it. Come on. No. She's really passionate about her mother being respected. She gets really riled up. Anyway, yeah. So now it's like if someone, I was just so taken back by it, and I didn't realize, I don't know, it's just a feeling of, I just felt basically at the end of the day, metaphorically, like throwing up because I ate too much on my plate because I didn't think that it was that heavy of a plate. But like looking back on it, I felt like Dobie the clown. like after the relationship didn't end up being like us not ended up like talking long term. It was like, damn, like all these people in this area that I'm always in probably think that that's my man, and like we haven't even, it's like I gave him that privilege of parading me around like I'm his girlfriend, and he didn't even do anything to earn me as a girlfriend, you know? So I'm not having that anymore. So that's a boundary now. If a guy asks to hold my hand, if it's the first date, I'm going to say no. Like, I'm still getting to know you. I don't want people getting the wrong idea, And I never heard of anyone having this boundary. So I don't know if I sound weird saying this, but it just felt weird. Like at the end of a date, like we went on more dates after, but I kind of didn't sit well with me because it was like, I don't know you. And a lot of the time men will lie and say that, will tell their friends that you're their girlfriend when you're not. I've had it happen to me multiple times, and it's just like at this point, no. Because then it's like, now I'm with this other guy and I'm actually dating this other guy, and they're thinking that I'm cheating, and they're thinking that I'm over here like just holding it up, talking to all these guys, when in reality it's like, we're like not even past the beginning phases yet. And no. Like the Get Out. No. Clear, just showing too much. Another boundary is meeting family and friends when we've just met. This relates to what I just said. Is like no girlfriend things if I'm not your girl. And like I've stated in a video, like I'm dating to marry, so I'm not being exclusive until I have a ring on my finger. But until we are talking seriously, I'm not meaning like, why would I? I have been invited, like first dates, I've been invited to go to family events like that. No, because then it's like you're taking me to your family event. For all I know, you're just taking me so you can impress your family and make it seem like this is the girl you're talking to when I just met you. Like, you don't get the privilege of parading me around your family and friends, and you didn't earn me. I don't even know you. Like, I don't understand the logic behind that. Like, I guess like life happens, and if you really want to date somewhere, if you meet a really pretty girl, like why not invite them? But it's like the fact that a lot of these guys will lie and be like, yeah, that's my woman. Yeah, I've got her. I take real good care of her. In reality, like he just met you. He hasn't done anything for you, and he doesn't plan to do anything with you. Like he just wants to have the honor of making it seem like he earned you and he has you when he doesn't have anything because he can't keep up with anything worth keeping up with. Like, no. Like, I have no problem meeting family and friends, but it's like, it's a waste of my time. You're over here like showing something off that isn't actually yours, and it's pathetic. And it's like I've had this happen to me a couple times, and sometimes it's not always pathetic. Like I remember the first time it happened, I was like so honored. I'm like, oh my God. He introduced me to his friends. I got to meet a little bit of his family, and I was like, he must really like me. It's like after a few dates, that's not weird to me. After a few dates, I'm actually like flattered. I'm like, oh, well, shucks. I must be special. But if it's like the first date, that's when it gets weird. That's when it's like, why do you really want to take me on a date? Like, for me, it's like, I wouldn't want someone to go to a family event if I don't know them like that. Like, I don't know how you're going to interact with family. I don't know how you are with drinks. Like, that's a risk. I'm not willing to risk it for the biscuit, And it's just like, I could literally embarrass you. I could be like a complete embarrassment. Like, looks are not everything. I could be like, I carry myself well. And I guess that's really like, people can see that upon meeting me. But it's like, what if this is a front? What if I get to this family event and I'm like, whoa, yeah. You never know. And it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little weird the first date. It's like, why do you really want to take me on a date? Let's actually get to know each other before I get to know your family. Like, let's do 2 dates at least. 2 dates. Thank you. And like, I say this because not only is this a boundary, but I think it's something that every woman should look out for. It's like flattering, but if it's the first date, it's weird. Because, like, they don't even know you, you know? It's like if they knew you prior to dating, like, let's say you guys are friends, you guys work together, and they've got to observe your behavior for a little bit in some other, like, form, that makes sense. But if it's like they just met you, like they met you and are just like, wow, let's go out. Like, it's like, let's go and meet my parents. It's like, who are you again? Why do I care to meet your parents? And I didn't think people were like this until I leveled up. And like, it's flattering, but it's just kind of like, not even just weird. It's like, it's kind of like you're using me. And I refuse to be used. Unless I get something out of it. But joking. But I am gonna get into the next boundary because I was gonna share story time, but another time. We got a story time for the end of this live stream. What is the other thing? I wrote it down in my notes. Oh, also with this boundary, it's like not knowing me and inviting me to like such a big event with your family. It's like, what if I have social anxiety? You know, like, what if I'm like, because that's a lot of pressure. The pressure is getting worse. That's a lot of pressure. You know, it's like, I really look my best on dates and stuff, but it's one thing to go on a date, but it's another thing to meet a whole family. It's like, can't be too sexy, but don't want to be too conservative. But like, should I be conservative? Because like, what if they're conservative? Like, you know, it's like, that's too much pressure on a girl. I'm just a girl. You know, like, it's got to be worth my while for me to want to do that, you know? It's one thing if I bump into them, but it's like to invite me to like a family freaking event, like, anyway. Okay, another boundary I have is, and I mentioned a little bit about this. I mentioned this in my standards live stream, but pretty much is when dating, the beginning phases of dating, a boundary I have is not being alone together in intimate spaces. Like, I'm not going to your place. You're not going to my place. We're not going to a hotel. Nothing in regards to like intimate spaces in the beginning phases. Cause it's like, in the beginning, I don't know, like, I don't like to assume things, but then it's like, let's be honest. Let's just like look at the statistics. Let's just like look at the facts. Let's be real. It's like most times, if you're in that intimate space, a guy's hoping to get lucky. That may not be his intention to like have sex with you, but he's hoping to, you know? And it's like, if I'm still in the getting to know you phases, it just doesn't make sense for me to put myself in that position where you're thinking that that's going to happen unless I'm ready for it to happen. So now a boundary of mine is, unless I'm ready for that to happen, I'm not inviting you to my house. I'm not coming over your house. And I've been on dates where guys would like, I had a date once where we went to a show and then we went to dinner, and this was the first date. And we talked about getting a bottle. I'm assuming that we were going to like drink the bottle. Ooh, excuse me. I was assuming we were going to drink the bottle after the show. Or like during, I don't know. I was like, we're going to just drink the bottle like sometime in between dinner or at dinner, or I don't know. And after the dinner, he was just like, so we're going back to my place to drink, right? I'm like, huh? He's like, the bottle of wine's back at my house, so we can drink at my house. And I'm like, and we talked over the phone, and I was like, yeah, like, bring this. Like, I love this drink. And he was like, okay, I'll bring that. And then like after the date, he hit me with, so yeah, let's have that bottle back at my place. And it's like, who said I was going to your place? Who said that we were going to continue this date to your place? I did not agree to that. You can't just like segue into that. You're not slick. And I was just like, no, I have to go home, you know? And he was like, oh, and he was like kind of silent. I could tell he was like disappointed. And then like we got in a car, and as we were driving, he was like, so we're going back to my place, right? Like he acted like he was slow. I feel like this is a tactic some guys use. They act like they're slow. I know some are actually slow, but some will act like they're slow. So you change your mind about your boundaries. So I went with it. I was like, okay, so he must be slow. So let me repeat myself again. So it just, and I was like in the car with him, I'm like, no, I said, and I said it politely so it didn't lead to violence. You know, that's a fear, you know, we all have as women. But I was like, I really wanted to say, like I said, I said no. But instead I was like, I have to go back home. I have something to do. Like, sorry, but I made up something I needed to do. And I was like, I thought you brought the bottle. You never told me that we were going to drink the bottle at your house. I wish you would have told me that. So then I would have put some time aside for the date to go to your house. And he was silent and he was like, okay. But the fact that he asked me twice, this is why you need to be firm in your boundaries, because sometimes people they don't get it. They'll pretend like they didn't hear you. They'll pretend like you didn't just say you can't eat that plate. You'll be like, hey, let me not have that. I don't want that on my plate. Bloop, they put on your plate. Just so you're stuck with it. Like, not I'm like showing too much. It's like, if you're telling someone you don't want collard greens and they put the collard greens in your plate, throw that in the trash. And if they're mad you do it in the trash, then that's their fault for not listening. You know, no one can force you to do something you don't want to do. And it kind of pissed me off that date, because it was like, I haven't talked to him again. And it wasn't even the fact that I ghosted him. He ghosted me after, because he couldn't get what he wanted. And that will often happen, like I said, when you have really firm boundaries and standards. He went to go find someone who didn't have those boundaries. But it's like, you have to be firm, because people will test you and be like, oh, well, how about you? And you just got to be like, no, you know, and it pissed me off, because it was like, this is what I lost my train of thought. What I was going to say. It pissed me off because in the past, I was not assertive. It was really hard for me to say no. In the past, I was just so uncomfortable saying no that like I didn't say it. And like sometimes I would just like, I just didn't speak up for myself. It led to me getting bullied. It led to me being harassed. It led to me being jumped even. So it's like, I've gotten to this point where I can say no. And then he had me get uncomfortable again to say no again. So in that situation, that was just a guy looking for someone that didn't have boundaries, because he had a clear goal. And that's why he left his bottle there, you know? So yeah. And it's annoying how most people expect for you to like go over a house after a first date. And for me, it's one thing if you planned it out, like you talked sexual prior to that first date, that would make sense. But it's like, if you have a date and nothing sexual was like a part of like the conversation, like if you didn't bring it up and they invite you over, to me, it just shows they're not taking you seriously. And I'm the type of woman that needs to be taken seriously, because I value myself like that. And I know my value. I know my worth. And I'm not going to give to someone who's worthless. I'm not saying guys who do this are worthless, but it's like, it's just not worth my time if you're going to treat me like every ever bitch, you know? It's not going to work. Because I'm not every ever bitch. And you're not either. Or maybe you are. I don't know. To each his own. But, and another thing, it's like, if it's like you don't know them that well, like you could literally get sexually assaulted. And guys will just look at you like you're crazy when you bring that up. Like I remember one time I brought up like, you know, I don't even know you like that. Like you could like assault me for all I know. You could like do this, like I could get kidnapped. And he was like, oh, you could trust me. I'd never do that. Like, I'm not that type of man. You can trust me. But it's like, it's not about trust. It's about logic. It's about safety. It's about facts. It's an endangerment for me to be in your home alone and I don't know you. There's so many Black women going missing. Like, if I'm honoring my safety and you're convincing me on how I shouldn't honor my safety, how I shouldn't be safe, and I should just trust you, that shows how much you actually care about me. That shows me how much you actually care and respect for women. It's one thing to acknowledge, like, yeah, you're right. That is unsafe. And I respect that you honor your safety. But a lot of these guys are just after what's between your legs. And those type of guys you'll really see their true colors and if they're that type of guy based on these boundaries. You can have straight facts and statistics and make so much sense to why you have those boundaries, but those who are just trying to use you will be like, well, who cares? Like, trust me. Just do it. Why not? Let's just make this one exception. Like, YOLO. Like, no, not YOLO. I value my life. I've got a lot of things to do, and I'm sorry if you don't, but sorry if you're used to people that don't, but I've got things to do, and I just move this way. And if you can't move this way with me, then go find someone else. And a lot of times they will. And that's nothing against you. I saw this. No. Patsy, no. She's like, yeah, that's right, mommy. Let them know. But it's like, and then I was watching this YouTuber and she was talking about how like a lot of the time those guys who are after women that that don't have boundaries, they'll complain about those women and be like, oh, all these women are hoes. I need me a queen. I need me a woman who's like this. But it's like, you're not going to get that if you're stepping into a relationship like that. Like, you're not going to attract a woman that has those things that you're wanting if you are, it's just, you get what you are, you know? Like, if you want a certain person, you have to know how to treat them. You have to be able to handle them. And if you're going about things and expecting, it's just... I think that's it that I'm going to share for today. Little story time in regards to my boundaries. So I remember my standards video, I mentioned how, why do I feel tipsy? I'm literally drinking sparkling apple cider and I'm feeling tipsy. Placebo effect at its best. Something going on outside my window. But I had a time, not a time, like, whoa, I'm literally tipsy. That's so weird. Hold on, let me look at this bottle. 100% juice grown from U.S. fresh apples. That's just how connected I am to nature. I just, I get high off of the sun. I literally do sometimes, but that's another video. Anyway, I recently was on Facebook and some guy that I had as a friend, he posted this huge status and he was like, it was like his huge status. And he was like, I don't get these women who won't go on coffee dates. They're going to be alone forever because they won't go on coffee dates. I met my wife on a coffee date and, I was struggling in the beginning and she stuck by my side. And now we're living life luxuriously, living life something. And he was saying how like women love to hustle. And if you don't go on coffee dates, all you're doing is hustling a man. And I'm just like, what the heck? So you're happily married and you felt the need to post a status triggered about women that won't go on coffee dates? How does that impact you, sir? Like, why are you so angry? If you're happily married, how does... So I commented, and I'm not one to comment when I am triggered, but it's just like everyone in the comments was just like, Yeah, I love coffee dates. I don't get those girls that don't like coffee dates. That's so weird. That's such a weird standard. Coffee dates are my favorite. I have the best on coffee dates. And it's like, I can see that perspective. I understand that perspective. I go on coffee. I've been on coffee dates. I'm not the type of girl to be like, "Ugh, only date rich men," but like, I mean, who isn't looking for a guy who's well established? But it's like, it's about effort. you know a lot of these guys that ask you to go on coffee dates, they're doing that so they're doing that because they're dating so many people. They're going so many dates that coffee dates are the best for them. It's cheapest for them, and I get it. Like, that's a smart way to move. If you're like planning on going on 10 dates that week, that's 10 coffees. That's the price of like an actual great dinner. But it's like, if I value my time and if I get myself Starbucks every morning, if I get myself coffee every morning, if it takes me 2 hours to get ready because I put effort into my looks every day, if I'm putting on heels and a dress and I have to give myself an Uber to meet you, and you are approaching me to ask to get to know me, if you ask to get to know me over coffee, I'm at a point in my life where it's just not worth my time. I'm not going to take you seriously because you asking me on a coffee date doesn't look like you're taking me seriously. So that is where some women are coming from when they're saying they don't want to go on a coffee date. It's not like, oh, he doesn't have enough money because he can only afford coffee. Like, some girls think that. And I feel like sometimes that is the case. Sometimes it is the case, though. The only thing we can afford is a coffee. And it's like, if we're looking for marriage and we don't want to be with someone that can't be a provider, that is a smart way to move if all he can afford is coffee. It's like, to each its own. And so I commented because everyone was like, yeah, you get him. So I commented and I was like, not me trying to find it verbatim. I'm gonna give you guys some tea. Give you guys some sparkling apple cider. And this would have been perfect if I actually had tea. Where is it? I was like, I think if you're a busy woman that puts efforts towards your looks daily and buys her own coffee every morning, coffee dates just isn't intriguing or worth the time. I see your perspective and can agree on it from that point of view, but there's another way of looking at it. Your perspective and perception is what you see, but just because that's the only thing you see, that doesn't mean that it's the only thing there is. And that's just common sense. But when you're really triggered, it's like out the door. And it was really interesting that he was triggered. So he commented like, right, I was like on the toilet and he commented right away. So I'm like on the toilet, like we're going back and forth. I wasn't expecting him to comment right away because, he's happily married and he's got all these things going. He's like, your perspective seems like a date is about what you can get from him rather than building a connection. And like a lot of people like that. And I'm just like, that could be the case, but that isn't always the case. Like different perspectives, different reasonings. Like, we are doing what's best for us. As a woman, you're supposed to do what's best for you, not what's best for him, what's best for her. You're supposed to be doing what's best for you if you want the best for you. And yeah, consider people, like, don't stump on people and use people. But it's like, I don't understand people that will belittle you and insult you for doing what's best for you because it's not best for them. Like, duh, what's best for me is not best for you. Like, and that's not a problem. It's to each its own. And I commented back and I was like, it's about valuing my time. If I already get Starbucks every morning, why would I be interested in that? I have been on some coffee dates with no problem, but I don't think there's anything wrong with women who don't want to accept a cheat date. Yes, some could be doing it for that very reason you're saying, but not all women are that way. Some just value their time more. And I put a little sprinkle. Should have put sprinkle, but sprinkle actually is my favorite emoji. Before I even found what you guys call a sprinkle lady. I knew her before she became a sprinkle lady. She actually inspired me to level up. I actually was attracted to her content because of her level up content. And then like I kind of started watching like the dating advice, but it's like I don't agree with everything she says. And that's okay. Like, you don't have to agree with everything someone says to support them. She gives a lot of great information. And I think she's helping a lot of women realize their worth and set better standards and boundaries. But there's a thin line between some things. Like, you can't follow everything someone else is doing, because what's working for them may not work for you. You got to figure out what works best for you. Don't take something verbatim and then expect for it to work verbatim if you operate differently and you want different things. But yeah, he commented and he was like, I think if your primary focus is on the food item you're getting, you are creating a life of free food without love and connection, which I understand. But it's like, no, that's not, no. I am not going on a date for free food. If someone is approaching me to get to know me and to take up my, like, if someone's asking me, can I take up your time to get to know you and pursue you, possibly sleep with you? Like, you know, I'm interested in you. I'm not, it's just not my 2 hours worth of getting ready, paying for my own Uber there. It's just not worth it. And some people will be like, well, why don't you just like have him pick you up? Again, safety. It's not a joke. People are getting kidnapped every day. Sex trafficking is at an all-time high. And for those, if there's a guy that you tell this to when you don't want to be picked up, I used to be the type of girl where I didn't give a F. Oh, when I was a teenager, I literally wish I could smack myself when I was younger. But I was blessed and God was protecting me. But I did some things that could have really got me killed when I was younger. But now I'm at a point where it's like, if I don't want to get in your car if I don't know you. And if you tell a guy that and he's just like, I don't get it, let me pick you up, it's easier, you can trust me, I'm safe, you can trust me. Those are words. All the many words people have said before they killed someone. I'm sorry, but I'm not taking those chances. Like, I'm not, if someone asks me on a date, the first thing on my mind isn't, oh, he's gonna kill me, I gotta be safe. But it's like, let me not put myself in a position to be killed. You know, just because I am protecting myself doesn't mean I think you're going to attack me. It means I'm protecting myself so I don't get attacked. And some guys will be like, oh, you think I'm going to attack you? I don't want to, you know, I'm not interested in you because you think that you don't trust me. I don't know you. To expect a woman to trust you and they don't know you is just stupid. You're not even caring about them. You're expecting them to revolve around your shit and not even care about the fact that they're risking their lives for a coffee date. It's not happening. And like, I've done it, and it's like, if I'm in the area, like if I haven't gotten my coffee yet, and it's like usually early in the morning when I get my coffee, I just am not dolled up. I'm like pinned up. Like, I guess I look good when I do my average look. My errands look, usually I don't have my wig. I got like my regular hair, and I do like a pin up, and I wear like my leggings and a shirt and a cardigan sometimes, and I'll put on sunglasses if I haven't done my makeup. And it's like, I don't want to do a date like that. Like, I really want to put my best foot forward when I'm going on dates. So when I'm asked for a coffee date, it's like, now I have to go out of my element and like doll myself up for something where I don't doll myself up. Like, I get my coffee, I come back home, and then I get ready to do all the other things. So it just doesn't make any sense for the way my life runs. And that may be different for other people. I saw like the argument of people saying like, the coffee dates are great because like if the date goes wrong, you could just leave. But for me, like, now that I've worked on myself and I am assertive, it's like, you can always just leave if you don't enjoy dinner. Like, I usually have my dates nearby. So it's like, if I really hate someone that, like, usually I get to know someone a little bit before the date, you know, over the phone and stuff. Like, we meet and talk on the phone a little bit. And if it's like, if I hate being in your presence so much during a real date, like a dinner date, I'll just simply make up an excuse and leave. If you're not able to do that, then yeah, coffee date is great because it's quick and cute. But for me, it's like, if I'm doing all this, it's not going to be for something quick and cute. Like, I'm going to get some content done. I'm going to, like, you know, do some TikToks and go out to dinner, go out for drinks, hang with my girls, like take maybe do a photo shoot and everything. I like to maximize my time, you know? So, yeah, freaking. This is why I don't comment on things when I'm triggered, but I felt like I had to because no one else was saying anything opposed to what he was saying. And like what he was saying was very one-sided. And it's like easy for you to say that coming from a male's perspective that doesn't want to take a girl on a real date. But like, think about the girl. Let's look at the girl's perspective. Let's look at what the woman has to do to get on a date and everything that goes into preparing for a date. And let's like look at those valid reasons. And let's not just assume it's because she's a gold digger. Maybe it's because she's a busy entrepreneur who's got things to do and she gets her coffee like at 5 a.m. and she doesn't feel like doing all that dolling up at 5 a.m. You know, there's like different ways to look at it, but some people don't even try because they're so triggered. And yeah, when he was like, if you think I think your primary focus is on a food item and not a connection. I was like, if that's the only way you see it, then so be it. Because it's like, I'm not about to sit here and argue with you. If you don't get it, the girls that get it. And you're not a girl. So like, how am I supposed to expect you to get it? And then he was like, it's true. You either want his love or you want to hustle him. You can't have both. And it's like, because I value my time and I don't want to go on a cheap date, it means that I'm hustling you. I'm sorry, but that mindset isn't going to get you the... I'm just... Whatever perspective you want to look at, have fun seeing what you see, but there's more to life than just the lens that you have. And it's so important to understand different lenses. Because there are women who are gold diggers, and the reason why they don't want to go on coffee dates is because they don't want to date cheap men. But it's like, so what? Like, if that was the case, like, let them do their thing. And not all women that don't accept coffee dates are like that. Some are busy, you know? But I just let him go off, and someone after another random dude like commented and was just like, what if he's a busy man and puts effort towards his looks daily? Would you split the bill? If he's busy and puts in more effort on his looks, are you buying? And I didn't even respond to that, because it's like, a man that puts more effort into his looks than me as a woman, I mean, it doesn't really matter, because I don't ask a man out on a date usually. I'm being asked out on dates all the time. So if someone's asking to take my time, it is just common courtesy to pay for it. So I don't care how you look, what you're doing. If you're asking me to take time out of my day to meet you so you can get to know me, no, I'm not splitting the bill, because you're the one that asked to take up my time. If it's too much of an inconvenience for you to go find someone who has a time for your cheap dates. It's that simple. And yeah, I just wanted to like explain that, because there are some people that just assume girls who don't do coffee dates are like gold diggers and don't care about love. It's not black and white. Some women want more than love. Some women want security. Some women want safety. Some women want to be taken care of. They want a provider. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's not what you want, then do what you want. Like, why are you so mad about someone who's not doing the things the way you did it? It has nothing to do with you. And it made me think, like, he's happily married, but he's so angry about these coffee date girls. It makes me wonder, like, I wonder if he's, makes me like kind of, is it that you're trying to low-key cheat on your wife, but it's harder to cheat because now girls aren't accepting coffee dates? I don't know. It's like, to be triggered by something, it has to personally, you know? And it's like, if you're happily married, how are you personally affected? I don't know. It could be maybe someone in his life was affected by it, but it's like, don't shame people for their standards. Just go and get someone that don't have them. Don't shame people for their boundaries. You either work with them or you don't. Everyone operates differently. Everyone has a right to have their own boundaries and standards. And to sit here and like shame women and say they're going to end up alone because they have self-respect and they value their time, it's concerning. Go find someone who doesn't. And if you live happily ever after with them, then enjoy your happily ever after. And there's nothing to be angry at. Unless you're not actually happily ever after. I don't know. I don't know that lens. I can't speak for it. But yeah, those are my boundaries in dating. Some of my boundaries in dating. And yeah, my next video, I'm going to get into perfectionism. Not a live stream. Maybe I'll do a live stream. But my next video, I want to get into perfectionism and how perfectionism will keep you from your again, if you're wanting to start a YouTube channel, you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, now is the time to enroll into my Tube Foundations course. If you enroll before July 31st as an early bird, you'll gain access inside of my Slack support where I can coach you on Slack, as well as you can be a part of a community of other creators and share your ideas, and we can walk through each of the modules together. And this is perfect for if you feel like you need accountability and you don't want to invest that much into a YouTube coach, you don't want to invest into accountability, you can invest. You don't have the funds to invest $1,000 for accountability. This is literally for free for those of you who enroll into Tube Foundations before July 31st. So I'm excited. I'm like so excited because I really had to have some talks with myself, because not on some craziness, but I really had to like really sit myself down and like not let perfectionism get to me, because like I wanted there to be so many more modules on my course, and I realized that was just complicating things for me, and that's also complicating things for my students, because I don't need to be doing all the extracurriculars, gadgets and gizmos. Like, I can add all those things later and then raise the price of my course. And the same applies to you, whatever thing that you want to do. If it's not YouTube, like the perfectionism that you're holding on to, like all of those things that you feel like you need now, like you cannot skip the rough draft. And if you're waiting for the final draft, it's never going to happen, because you need to first work on rough draft. And through the rough draft, you will create the final draft. So if you want to get some more tips on perfectionism and how to beat that, then stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed and your posts, press that bell button so your post notifications are on, and you'll be notified when that perfectionism video is out. I'll see you in the next video.